G'day and welcome to another episode. My name is Daethstro, the Aussie Geek, and today we will be looking at the Fanstoys Jive, aka their masterpiece Jazz. This is a fine figure, but I will say outright he has some clearance issues, some serious clearance issues, especially in his legs. So I will show that when we get to it, but yeah, there is a good chance you will paint chip this figure. I did during my first transformation, so please be aware of that. And I will point out exactly where it is. But he does look amazing. So honestly, when you get this guy, choose a mode. Do not consider this guy to be a figure you grab off the shelf and you decide, oh, I'm going to transform him the 15th time today. Because honestly, I think he'll either disintegrate or just break into pieces. Honestly. But here he is in a nice little pose I have him in that I've had him on my shelf. And yes, he does have a backpack, but it could be worse. Especially, well, I have him basically facing this way, so you see a little bit, but not much. So I'm not overly too worried about it. But yeah, he does look really, really nice. Like I said, he does have issues, and I will point them out. But yeah, so there he is. We can do a size comparison straight off the bat. Here we have MP10, and he is from head probably just underneath Prime's ribs. So there's that. So he does look good with Prime. He has a fair decent amount of accessories. For starters, he does have his gun, and I have alternated focus. I have put a different face on. I will explain how that works in a moment, but I won't actually do it because it can be fiddly. If we put him aside, he does come with some alternative faces, and I am discovering that to have something up close, especially this small, it is helpful to have something closer to the camera as well. So I'll try to get this in. So this is one of his alternative faces. So first of all, face. And we have the standard face he comes with, which is a very stoic face. Focus. There you go. So, as for taking them off, what you need to do is you can lift up here and it'll lift the whole of his top of his head. And the idea is you reach under here, you pull it out, and there's a peg, which my thumb was basically over here. And that just went flying somewhere in my things next to me. I don't have my bits box here. It's currently put away back in Hound's box itself. So it's somewhere on my shelf or somewhere on my table next to me. I really need to tie up. Anyway, so you pull this out and you pop it in. Now, the problem with the standard face is, at least with this face, you can, if I get his gun out of the way, you can say grab into his mouth and pull. But that doesn't have it on the standard face, so it can be a chore to get out. So beware that. Also, what about insignia? Not included. We do have two of these speakers, and I like it, but I'm also disappointed. And the idea is you bring the backpack out a bit. You can use it in both modes. I'll get into that in a minute, but you basically have this piece here, and that clips onto there, and he can have it over his shoulder. Now, admittedly, I wanted it on his hips, very reminiscent of whichever episode it is, but the side skirt is too thick for the piece, so it doesn't work that way. And while I've got his backpack out of the way, he does have his G1 shoulder cannon, and that latches the exact same way. So you can have the shoulder cannon on there if you want. For a more G1 look, you can bring the doors out, but they don't really sit very well. So they're sort of floopy. So, this is meant to be a G1 cartoon masterpiece, not toy masterpiece. So, it is what it is. Just take that out of the way and get all that resituated a little bit, because we'll get into that in a minute. We do have his, whoops, and the whole thing just unthreaded. That's great. We have his grappling hook, and let me see if I can get it all rewound back up again. This is going to be fun. Give me a second, I'll just rewind this. Alright, here we go. All rewound up. Now, this only works on one hand, which is the right one, which I'm assuming is more for continuity's sake, but at the same time, these pegs do not sit on the right hand. So if I untab his gun, which honestly, I like the tab method that they used for Brawn and Outback. You know, this uses the tab in the palm, which just sort of sits on the bottom, but I missed the one that just sort of slides in. I thought that was a far better method. Anyway, so we're going to transform. Oh, this is one of his issues. I think I need to. I'm trying to figure out whether it's. I think it's in. Whoops, I'm starting to untab things. His shoulder's very tight. I think it might take a bit to get used to, but that's neither here nor there right now. So get that all done. Fold that down. Fold this hand in straight. And you have thick, thick, skinny, skinny. Skinny, skinny, thick, thick, or long, long, short, short, whichever you prefer. And that just plugs on there. And now he can save some Autobots from a rushing river, or cliff jumper from the rust zone, if you prefer. So we can unplug that. We won't worry about transforming his hand back, because I'm going to have to eventually transform it that way anyway. But we can do articulation. Got to get things a bit more situated properly. So head can turn on full 360. Looks up, way up, due to that next joint. Can't look down very far, but if you use the transformation joint, he can look at his chest. Doesn't go side to side. Arms can do a full 360, but you've got this peg in here and this peg in here, and it's supposed to hold his shoulder in place. It doesn't do a very good job. So I might have to loosen that at some point. Figure out where exactly the wrench is. But that does a full 360. Goes out that far. They does go up and down, but it's more for transformation. We have bicep rotation. We have double jointed elbow that gets you that far. We have wrist rotation. We have typewriter fingers with one pin, with the last three one piece of plastic, and the index finger on its own. Thumb does not move. And I'm unplugging his chest. We do have waist rotation, although the backpack could get in the way. We also do have an ab crunch, which sort of wants to pop back on itself. And definitely the backpack starts playing around with things. We have side skirts here, here, and here. Beg my pardon. That goes up that far, but it does get a bit weighty. Goes back that far, once again, a little bit weighty. Goes out that far, holds that a lot better. We have thigh rotation. We have single jointed knee that gets you that far. This has issues. I'll get to that in a minute. We have ankle tilt, which has just partly disconnected on mine for part of it. The whole thing's supposed to come with it, but I don't think I had that tabbed in far enough. But that just proves a point also about this. So you can get the toe that far, but you need to untab this. And really, if you want to get up and down, you have to untab that as well. So that is what it is. Mine was very tight when I first got it, so just be aware of that. So there we go. We get him all situated before we start getting him into vehicle mode. So we have one hand done. We might as well get the other one over and done with. So we'll fold that up. that shoulder. Like I said, I'm going to have to figure out whether it's in here. I want to say it's in here because then the whole thing comes with it. But I want to say it's inside the shoulder. So we'll get that folded in all the way there, providing the fingers are all squeezed up properly and straight. Come on. There we go. And as you can see, those things are not there. I'm untabbing everything before I want to. All right, we're going to start with the legs first, and this is where things get complicated, so please be aware. All right, so this is where all your trouble is going to come into place. Now, one of these on mine was pressed in when I first got it. All right, first things first, we're going to untab this and fold that in. And honestly, that reminds me of X-Transbot's Springer, part of his transformation too. Anyway, you're going to flip this up and just sit it up there for the time being. It'll probably move anyway. You're going to flip this a little out of the way and just sort of lift up the spoiler. Not much, it's not going to help too much. Then what we're going to do is we need to get all this out, and we start discovering the issues, which is clearance. So this is all going to flip out the side like so, and we have this mess. So for those of you thinking, oh, this is the outside of the tire, nope, the outside of the tire is in here. And basically, when you're taking it back into robot mode, this has to sit sort of up and in. I'll see if I can do it when we get into actual robot mode, but into robot mode again. But yeah, it's an issue. All right, so we need to just compress that for the moment, and we need to rotate this whole thing, and this is where clearances start causing trouble. So we rotate here, but then we're starting to get stuck on the foot, so we'll just move the other way. But we have this piece here, which goes into the side here. That's a clearance difference. There's nothing you can do. You literally have to force around that piece to get it. And so far, I haven't scratched the paint on it. I've scratched it on the other side, but so far not there. All right, then what we want to do is straighten this out, and we're going to rotate, try and get it, because it does sort of lift a bit, but we want to get this tire around here so that these tabs will go on to the tabs that are on the other side. And it's a double hinge, so just fold it until you get about right. So then we can bring it back, hopefully. We'll flatten that out so we don't start scratching it against things. Yeah, it's up there, is it? Yeah, it's up there. All right, so then what we need to do is we need to rotate this around, and you have this port here, and you have, if I can show it, this port, little one in here, and all that has to line up. The tire might flip out a bit, but if you can line those up, you've got it right, and you can always press the tire back in. All right, we're going to untab the knee. Actually, moving that down might have helped. We'll leave that for the time being unless it untabs itself. So all this is going to go in here again. So we fold it up, get that underneath. I think I've got that right. Yeah, no, it's in the right spot. I was going to say I don't. Oh, this flap in here needs to be flattened. So fold that up. That's going to go all in that groove. It's not going to really sit in. Oh, that's what we need to do too. This is going to come round, and it's going to go into here. It's going to slide under there, and there's this little tab here that's going to go into this spot here. Try to line it up. Why are you? I bet you the toe's just slightly in the way. Just fold that out of the way first. And just sort of do your best to line it up. There we go. And we'll just bring this down a little bit. Actually, that tail's got to go up there first, and then bring that down. So this flips up here, and this is all going to tab in here. It'll probably pop out. I know the other side does to me constantly, but that's basically where you want your leg for the time being. This will tab over here. It's supposed to lock it in place, but that's more for later. So that's one leg down. I'll be back once I've got the other one done. Okay, all done. That was a little fiddly, which is why I sort of cut that. All right, so we're going to leave the legs for the time being because we do have to do part of the upper body. So what we're going to do is we're going to slide up and out the top. We're going to shift these out of the way. There is a sliding mechanism here. Just sort of give it a push. And that's also how you give yourself a flat back. You're going to flip up these side skirts. You're going to flip up this tab here, which will extend the waist further. You're then going to extend the legs back. And we'll get to this in a minute. But what we're going to do is we're going to collapse these pieces here into the other side. Honestly, getting there is easy. Getting them back to stay there is a different story. Like so. And we want to... Mine always seems to always be out, but you basically want to extend the inside knee so you have this sort of gap, which doesn't always stay there, but try your best. And what we want to do is you want to go up here, but you want to go down at the knee. So you want to bend the knee. Because what's going to happen is this is going to fold up, this is going to fold in, and in theory, all this is going to go to the front of the crotch plate. So it basically has to compress a lot. Let's see if I can get it right the first time. There we go. So it's sort of, how can you put it? This has to line up, and that's going to have to push that way. So let's see if I can do it on the other side. Show it a little bit better. So knee, as far as it'll go. And I'm trying to figure it. Probably try bending it as far as it'll go. And then bend that knee, and then in, and then push. So that should give you the leeway to get the legs done, and then you can basically tab all this together. It's not entirely secure. There is a lot of non-securing parts in this. This thing, honestly, in some parts needs a lot more tabs, but you basically get this. All right. We're going to... how do you put this? This is an interesting mechanism and also weird, but you're going to flip this down. You're going to split the chest in half as far as it'll go. Don't pull too hard. You just want enough. Now you can flip this up if you want, but I have yet to find an actual purpose for it. But you at least want the head facing down. So you want to pull up on that joint and pull back like so. We can flip this piece up because that's going to be the front of the bonnet, and we want to flip it. Actually, we may need to extend it. So you have these metal pieces here. They're on sliders, which are in here. So you want to slide that all forward as far as it'll go. So we have a little bit of room here. We can get to that in a second, but we're going to flip it in. So head first. So it'll come all the way around, and then we have the bonnet, and that can all plug in together. Now, as for his belly piece here, it does come out a little bit more for later on, but we're going to fold this in, and then push it all the way back. And as long as I haven't activated any ab crunch or anything, I should be right. All right, now we're getting to some more of the meat and the potatoes. Now, one thing I find pointless is this piece here. It's got a hinge. I can't find a use for it because in robot mode, it just impedes the way the sides look. And in vehicle mode, it needs to already be there, so it doesn't really matter. But we have to deal with these doors in a second. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug the arms. and I'm going to slide these tabs in. Now in mine, when I first got it, it was already like that. And as you can see from those shoulders, it ain't making much difference. So I'm still thinking, let's have a closer look. The ratchet, yeah, the ratchet feels like it's in here. So maybe if I undo those screws a little bit, just give me a second. So I just unscrewed this piece here, and honestly, that's just basically holding the housing in place. The ratchet itself is in the mechanism, and it's not going to help much. All right, so let's deal with this top first, and then we can worry about the doors. Now, as with everything that has ball joints, except for this guy's legs, more often than not, this is going to pop off. So you just want to pull out and rotate, and it should appear like this. If it hasn't already, flip this piece out, so that is going to go under the bonnet. But let's see if I can get, and the idea is this is going to push that back, so that's your crab piece, your butt piece, but this is going to slide back over it, so it sort of compresses it, and there's these tabs that will go into these holes here. They do secure very tight, so you will find it difficult getting the roof back off again. So slide that down, and thankfully that actually went underneath my bonnet. So slide back, and there's two white pieces that got to go underneath the back as well. So just get them under. Hopefully things are where they're supposed to go. This is where things get a little fiddly, not too fiddly, but fiddly enough. It's just a matter of trying to find somewhere to put your hands. I'm pressing his head, and I really don't want to. Making sure I've also got the things around the right way, because I popped them off last time. There we go. So there's also tabs on the side here, which is where the back windows will tab in. And voila. So there's all that. By the way, there's my paint chip there, and so far I'm going pretty good on this side. All right. So we also need to get that under there. I probably should have got that in place first. You can sort of wiggle that and get that in place. I'm just making sure my sliders haven't slid out. And my bonnet's coming apart though. All right. Get all that up there. It's not going to sit too secure until I start securing things. All right. So now we have one of the other big issues with this. I'm trying to keep those arms out of the way. Is you have, I don't know how well I can show it. You have a double hinge here. You can only see the side of this one, but there's another piece under here. Now, if I fold out the window and the mirror, the idea is this all has to collapse behind here. And I have watched videos, and they suggest you put the arms in first and then do the doors last. I disagree, because what I would do is use a finger or whatnot to press on that other piece that was holding the shoulder in place, and then use that or your thumb and push against the joint, and that will fold in place. It does not feel good. Let me get that straight. It does not feel good. But then with that, we can clip the door into place. And there is a tab here, but half the time mine doesn't want to line up. It really needs a tab on the window itself. So we do that again. We get our window open. We get our mirror out of the way. And we try to get a finger to just press against that. And you'll feel it, and it'll eventually go in. If you do it where you put the arms in first, you're going to have such a it's a bad enough feeling doing it as I did it, let alone doing it any other way. And my roof's coming off. So there we go. Oh, by the way, we can pull this back to fix up the spoiler too. Thought I was forgetting something. All right. we're on the home stretch. And I'll fix crap up in a minute. All right. The arms can be a little fiddly too, and it's basically because of how tight the shoulder joints are. So what we're going to do is we need to get this one into here. So we want to rotate there so we have the tie the right way around. We're going to get the arm up as far as it'll go, which I think I'm going to end up getting in the way. We want to keep this port on the inside. So we have the bicep joint here. So what we're going to do is try and get that tire in place. Like so. Do it the best you can. There we go. And we're going to try to move that shoulder, and there's a slight tab behind his head. That's going to fit in there. Oops, I don't have his shoulder down up far enough. There we go. So, by the way, the tab is in here. So, get that back up there. If everything lines up properly. I don't know why the tie is fighting me. There we go. And then that can go up, tab that in there, and we have one arm done. My bonnet's coming apart, but that is what it is. All right, same on the other side. We want to rotate the arm till we're such. We want to push up. We want to turn the bicep. Well, we'll need to straighten the arm up. Flatten the arm. So push it down. And we're going to do it so that this tab is going to go under here. So just figuring out which way we're going. We need to turn the bicep around for starters, I believe. And that way? Yeah, that way. So chances are I'm going to have to rotate that arm anyway. So get that all up there. Fiddle with that a bit. Try to get that tire in. I'm wondering if that's why they tell you to do the doors last, is because of the tires having trouble getting in place. But honestly, I still feel it is a better idea than the idea that it suggests. So then that goes in there. We'll sort of tab in there somewhere. Give everything a solid squeeze and a push. And I think part of my bonnet is too far down. Yeah, probably could have come up a little bit. But I don't even think I can get to that. Now, I'm not even going to attempt it, because I think I'm just going to end up untabbing a crap ton more than I actually want to. And I don't know why, but that's not tabbing in properly or staying tabbed in. As with everything, once you get it transformed once, you can never get it back to the way it was in the factory. And this guy came in robot mode. So I'm thinking things are just slightly pressing against each other. But it is what it is. And me tires are moving. Seriously, what is your problem? That is slightly annoying me a little bit. I think I got it. Hope I got it, because that's as best as I'm gonna get. Anywho, so there is Jazz in his vehicle mode. And he looks good, I won't lie. You can even get a hovercraft mode, I suppose, if you really want to try. He does look good, but it's the fiddle factor and the fact that there's clearance issues here. There is potential breakage here. Honestly, like I said, this isn't the kind of toy that you'd say, I'm going to pull off the shelf and I'm going to play with him now. I'm going to spend the whole day transforming him. You know, just noticed I was off. One of my wheels is not flat. Anywho, so there he is in vehicle mode. So as for size comparison, here he is with Windblade. So there we go. Now you can arm up the accessories, everything except for the grappling hook and of course the faces. You can take his gun and you can take his shoulder cannon, and there's a tab here and port on the side of the gun if you don't drop it. And that all plugs in, and then you can use the original one for his shoulder and you can stick that onto his spoiler if that's what you want to do. And of course you can take both of his speakers and you can use, say, this peg here, slide that on, rotate it out a bit, and voila, he's got his speakers. And of course there's a second one, but it's still in its bag. So there we go. Now we can have the fun part of getting him back into robot mode, which, as always, usually robot mode is the easier of the two because you're basically not having to worry about as much stuff. So we're going to start from the arms and work our way back. So once again, we're going to flip that out. We're going to flip this down. As I said, it's easier. We can untab this one and fold that one out. Whoops. If I don't pull the tire off first, like so. And then what we can do is straighten it out and find that twist point and rotate it out, find that twist point and rotate that around. And we can fix up those in a minute. We're going to come where the doors are, and that's just going to unplug. And there is no easy way of doing this. You're going to pull down on the door until it sort of goes clunk. That didn't feel good on my fingers. So, oh shit, that does not feel good. It really, 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 really does not feel good. I've got it, but that doesn't feel good. I feel like that's potentially going to rip the door off one of these days, which is why I'm never going to do this again. It's like the X-Transport Preceptor. You want to pull enough force on it to pull it, but not too much force to rip it out. All right, so then what we can do is get this out of the way. Like I said, I think I had that too far down. I should have brought that up further. Okay, to get the roof off. Like I said, this tabs in really well, and these will pop off. Like so. Put that one there so I know which is which. All right, so we're going to need to untab here to get this out. So you may need to use a little force, but we get it off. And then we can take these, and there's a plug here underneath, and at least it's easy to put them back on if I don't stop dropping them. And there we go. All right, so we can give ourselves a little bit of clearance with the legs. We can pull all this back if you can find a decent spot. Oh, we'll probably want to get that roof out of the way. So we're going to slide all that up just so we got a bit of clearance, and we can flip this up a little bit. Then we can wiggle. Might need to split the legs, honestly. It's just a matter of trying to find the right places to put your fingers. There we go. All right, so we'll fix the legs up in a second. So let's deal with the upper body. So we're going, if it hasn't already, you're going to pull that apart. This is all going to rotate around, so we have the head back where it's supposed to go, and we can plug all that back in, flip that down, pull the neck joint on the head forward and back, and the head back where it should be. We have these tabs in here. We want to flip out on either side. And we want to rotate this back. There is a tab port here and a piece here, and that's supposed to lock that into place. It doesn't. It's supposed to. It doesn't. Because the moment I go to move that shoulder, it's going to probably untab. Which I'll fix that up in a second. Same on the other side. That's already out. Rotate that up and tab that slide thingy in like so. And might as well do the arms since we've got some room. Rotate that around, and I like to give it a push up so his shoulder's a little bit higher. The same on the other side. Rotate, turn the bicep and push it up, and that gives us that. We want to come in here, flip out his belly piece, and we can slide all this back in a second, but we're going to flip these two out as far as they'll go, providing things aren't in the way. We're going to slide all that back on those sliders. You might need to grab it from the back, keep all that tabbed in, and this all will tab up underneath the chest place. There's spots and stuff for it. Once again, proof. There is no reason to fold that out. It wouldn't clear anything. All right, bring his legs down. We're going to flip all this back up. It's going to tab in here. Bring this down. That's going to tab on there, and we can bring the butt skirts back where they're supposed to be. As for this piece, we can flip that down, and we can bring the, you sort of want to slide, where is it? I feel like something's amiss. Something just doesn't seem right. So it will sit up that high if you let it, but if you fold the wings in under and sort of just give it a slight push on that slider, you will sort of lock all that more into place. There's no tabs on the side of the wings, and it will give you a slightly better look on the back there. So it's just a matter of giving a sort of a push until things are fairly well locked in, because these sort of just sit there. They don't really tab in anywhere. So I don't know if any of you see that because I didn't look in the camera. But yeah, just let that down and sort of push those into place. They're not going to go anywhere. They don't tab anywhere. It just sits there. All right, legs. I'm going to try and do both of these because I feel like if I skip it this time, it's going to screw you over. All right, so we're going to flip this down for the time being. We're going to try and get all that out, and we're going to flip this down. We're going to untab the inside here to give that a bit of clearance, and we'll just pull up the sides, the tail fin a little bit. We're going to untab the side here and bring that up and try to separate that. I'm going to bring it around, and we're going to try and bring this tire around. You may have to fiddle a little bit. And you basically need to get the tire into here. And I'm going from the slightly wrong way. Get that up and around and straighten that up and just sort of compact it. All right, we're going to try and get this spun around again, and we're going to go this away. So it's just a matter of clearance is and stuff. It's just a matter of trying to find the right way to go. This is the same problem I had earlier. Just get that, turn that around, or turn that around, and that might give us a bit more clearance. All right, get that around there. Get that all around, and I popped off my tire. Fix that in a minute. All right, get that out of the way for the time being. We're going to flip that around, put the tire back on, like so. And it's going to come round. Like I said, so this is going to go down here. Just sort of lift it up a bit and bring it around if you can. There we go. Like so. That tail is, those rear lights are getting in my way. And we have the tire in the right spot, but we don't have the rest of this in the right spot. We sort of want to fold. Might need to get that foot out of the way. Come on. Try to get that foot down. There, that might give us a bit of clearance. Also, we need to get this black piece in here up. So that way it fills out the side of his leg. Alright, so maybe I have enough clearance now. But I don't think I have. Yeah. So this is basically going to sit under here. It doesn't really tab in, but it sort of wants to align itself with the wheel. So that when you fold that in, this should go under here. But the other piece is going to go underneath the foot. And I was working this out before, and I had it worked out. Now it's going to mess with me. There we go. That's got one. There we go. And then we can pull the knee forward and tab that in. And I'll fix that upper leg in a minute. But we're going to bring... Oh, really? Really? Wow. Just when I think I've got it worked out, part of it decides to shift on me. Try to get that up. So we've got a heel. All right, I'm going to try and get that panel back in place. I think I got it. Think I got it. Also, there's a tab on the side of the knee. So it's basically the lower leg. And that's going to start popping off again, I bet you. It's the lower leg. Come on, I had you worked out. God dang it. It's all the lower leg that's the problem getting back into robot mode. Because the clearances are a joke. Get around there. And this is why the video is like almost an hour long. Like I said, I bet you I'm going to pop that other piece out. Come on. Get in there. Yeah, we got it? Yeah, I got it. Woohoo! I got it. I can come down. Tab in the side there, and then we can come under here. Fold that out. And plug that in. And last but not least, I'm going to grab my part separator wherever I put it. I'm going to push on the back of the knee till it sort of locks into place. The knee joint is tight enough that it will probably pop it back out when you go to move it. So just give it a hard shove and hope for the best. So that's one leg all done. Let's see if I can get the second leg done before we hit the hour mark. So flip out. Flip this all out and slide it down a bit. Untab that. We're going to try and get that foot out first. if I can. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Oh, clearance. That's the huge, big problem with this figure is it's purely clearance issues. All right, so what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get this spun around without moving that wheel this time. Let's see if that helps. So then we can unplug that and that, rotate it around, and I'm just having a look at things. All right, fold that there. We're going to flip without unplugging the wheel. We're going to need to get that out of the way first. I apologize for anyone who's trying to follow along with this. It is a literal chore to try and get to work. I would choose Astro Train over Jazz any day. Alright, so that's got that going. So I'm going to try and flip this back down here. Like so. Just to see if this is going to help me with anything. And flip up that metal piece. Or the side of his leg, whatever you want to call it. As far as it'll go. And log all that into place. So we have one side done. Pull back on that a little bit. Actually, let's slide that up. That might actually help. That might give it a bit more clearance for the spoiler section. Untab that. And now we need to get all... There we go. Push that up. That might give us actually the clearance we need. So then we can get that under there. Rotate. Can we? Can we? That tire still wants to move on me. Tab that in there. Bring this back and down. Fold that in as best we can. Probably pop the front out a bit. Make sure that other piece is not about to Get in there. Try to line all that up the best you can. And then get that knee in place. Gotcha. And then we can fold this down, fold that up, fold this down, tab that slightly into place, and get our part separator and shove it in the back of his knee until it goes clunk. Hope for the best when you straighten his knee. It's not going to screw with the rest of it. And voila! We have two... hang on. Almost stuffed up. We want to put that in place, and I don't know why. I think it might be just the ankle tilt. Plug that in there. Alright, now we got the legs done. Woo! Holy shit, I'm never doing this again. Alright, almost done. Final steps. Fold down his hand. Rotate that out. Flip that back up. Hope to God that shoulder stays where it's supposed to. Other arm. Fold that out. Roll that up. And voila. We have Jive / Jazz. Holy shit, I need a drink after this. Just goes in place. Back in his robot mode. And holy shit, as he looks amazing. I will say it. He does look amazing. Both in vehicle and in robot mode. But by God, do yourself a favor. If you have no intention of ever seeing the vehicle mode, do not transform him from the original mode that he comes in, which is robot mode. Just don't do it. Just do not transform this guy if you have no intention to ever display him in vehicle mode. And if you have any intention of putting him in vehicle mode. Never, ever, 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 ever transform him back into robot mode. This is what I get for trying to get him back in his pose I had him in. Really? Now, why are you causing me strife? Get up there. Also, I missed part of his shin. Oh, good. I was going to say, please tell me that those panels aren't untabbed. It would really annoy the shit out of me. But, so there we go. So if you liked this figure, this video, I should say, not this figure. If you liked this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs down. I promise you, it will not hurt my feelings. Subscribe, ring that bell, leave me a comment. Are you getting this, Jazz? Are you perfectly happy with the Make Toy, Jazz? Are you perfectly happy? Sorry. With one of the official, the official Chug figures. But thanks for watching. Catch you later.